First contact and invasion. The day the sky turned silver was supposed to be like any other. Dr. Samira Patel stood at her workstation in the Arecibo Observatory, her eyes fixed on the vast data streams scrolling across multiple monitors. For years, she had searched the cosmos for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence, sending out signals and patiently waiting for a response. Tonight was different. A faint anomaly caught her attention, growing stronger with each passing second. Samira's heart raced as she adjusted the array, focusing on the unusual signal. What she saw defied explanation. A massive fleet of crystalline structures descending through Earth's atmosphere, their surfaces refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. Within hours, the world was gripped by a mixture of awe and fear. News channels broadcast live footage of the alien vessels as they positioned themselves above major cities across the globe. Their size dwarfed even the tallest skyscrapers, casting long shadows over the bustling metropolises below. As dawn broke, a message was broadcast simultaneously on every communication device on the planet. The aliens, calling themselves the Nexari, spoke in perfect English, their voices a haunting chorus that sent chills down the spines of all who heard them. People of Earth, we come seeking new horizons. We are the Nexari, travelers from a distant star system. We have journeyed across the cosmos to share our knowledge and power with your species. Prepare yourselves for ascension. The days that followed were a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings and public demonstrations of Nexari technology. They cured diseases thought incurable, showed humans how to harness clean, limitless energy, and promised to end global hunger and poverty. Dr. Patel found herself at the forefront of human-Nexari relations, chosen to lead a team of scientists working directly with the aliens. "This is extraordinary," Samira exclaimed, examining a device that could manipulate gravity itself. "With this technology, we could revolutionize space travel, construction, even medicine." Her Nexari counterpart, a tall, ethereal being named Zarak, smiled enigmatically. "Indeed, Dr. Patel. And this is merely the beginning of what we have to offer your species." As weeks turned to months, the Nexari integrated seamlessly into human society. They established embassies in major cities, offered technological upgrades to governments and corporations, and even began a cultural exchange program. Humans flocked to learn from these advanced beings, eager to absorb their wisdom and experience their way of life. Yet not everyone welcomed the aliens with open arms. Pockets of resistance formed, voicing concerns about humanity's rapid adoption of Nexari technology and the growing influence of the aliens in global affairs. Among the skeptics was Major Jake Martinez, a former Special Forces operator now working in military intelligence. Jake watched the nightly news with growing unease, noting the subtle changes in policy and rhetoric from world leaders. "They're changing us," he muttered to himself, scribbling notes in a worn journal. But to what end? As the first year of the Nexari arrival drew to a close, Earth had been transformed. Polluted skies cleared, deserts bloomed with vegetation, and the first human colonies on Mars were already under construction. It seemed that a new golden age of humanity had begun. But beneath the surface of this utopian veneer, unseen currents were stirring. In hidden laboratories and secret meetings, the Nexari pursued agendas unknown to their human hosts. And in the shadows, individuals like Jake Martinez worked tirelessly to uncover the truth behind the aliens' benevolent facade. One night, as Samira prepared to leave her lab after another day of groundbreaking research, she couldn't shake a nagging feeling that something wasn't quite right. The Nexari had given humanity so much, but at what cost? And what did the future hold for Earth and its newfound place in the cosmos? Her musings were interrupted by a sudden power fluctuation. The lights in the lab flickered, and her computer screens went dark. As Samira reached for her phone to call maintenance, she heard a sound that made her blood run cold, the unmistakable hum of Nexari energy weapons powering up. Outside, the once peaceful alien ships that hovered above the city began to pulse with an ominous red light. Samira rushed to the window, her heart pounding, to see Nexari warships descending from the sky. The aliens she had worked alongside, trusted, and even befriended were now raining destruction upon the city. "Zarak," she called out, spotting her colleague amidst the chaos. "What's happening?" Zarak turned, his usually serene face now twisted into a cold, alien smirk. "The next phase of our plan, Dr. Patel. Earth is ripe for harvesting." Before Samira could react, Zarak raised a hand, and she felt her consciousness slipping away. As darkness engulfed her, she heard the Nexari message echoing across all communication channels. "People of Earth, your planet is now under the full control of the Nexari Collective. Resistance is futile. Submit, and you may yet have a place in our new order." Across the globe, the scene was the same. The Nexari, using the very technology they had shared with humanity, swiftly disabled Earth's defenses. Military bases were neutralized, communication networks hijacked, and world leaders were either captured or forced into hiding. Jake Martinez watched the invasion unfold from his hidden bunker, a mix of vindication and dread washing over him. He had been right all along, but the truth had come too late. Now he faced the daunting task of rallying a resistance against an enemy that seemed unstoppable. In the days that followed, the true extent of the Nexari deception became clear. The technology they had shared was designed with hidden backdoors and kill switches. Humanity's greatest advancements of the past year became their greatest vulnerabilities. Cities were quickly transformed into processing centers, where humans were sorted based on their usefulness to the Nexari regime. Those with valuable skills were conscripted into forced labor, while others were herded into camps for a fate unknown. Samira awoke in one such processing center, her mind reeling from the betrayal. She watched in horror as her fellow humans were categorized and separated, their fear palpable in the air. Determined to fight back, she began to secretly gather information, looking for weaknesses in the Nexari system. Meanwhile, Jake was busy connecting with pockets of resistance around the world. Using old-school communication methods and staying off the grid, he began to piece together a global network of freedom fighters. One evening, as Jake was coordinating a supply run for a resistance cell, he received an unexpected transmission. It was from Dr. Patel. "This is Dr. Samira Patel. If anyone can hear this, the Nexari have a weakness. Their neural network, it's vulnerable to." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving Jake with a glimmer of hope and a new mission. As the first month of Nexari rule came to an end, humanity stood on the brink. The aliens' control seemed absolute, their technology insurmountable. Yet in hidden corners and underground bunkers, the seeds of resistance were taking root. Samira, now working covertly within a Nexari facility, continued to search for a way to exploit the weakness she had discovered. Jake, armed with this new information, worked tirelessly to bring together the fragmented remains of human resistance. The Nexari, confident in their victory, began the next phase of their plan, the systematic restructuring of Earth's ecosystem to suit their needs. As alien flora began to replace native plants and the sky took on a strange, purple hue, the urgency of humanity's plight became even more apparent. In the shadows of a world transformed, humanity's spirit refused to be extinguished. The resistance, born from desperation and hope, began to take shape. The battle for Earth had only just begun, and the coming days would determine whether humanity would reclaim their world or be relegated to a footnote in the Nexari's cosmic conquest. As night fell on the changed Earth, Jake Martinez looked out over the alien-transformed landscape from his hidden bunker. He clutched Dr. Patel's fragmented message in his hand, a spark of defiance burning in his eyes. "They think they've won," he whispered to himself, "but they've never faced the likes of us before. This is our home, and we're going to take it back." With renewed determination, Jake turned back to his makeshift command center. The first chapter of Earth's resistance was about to be written, and humanity was ready to show the universe what they were truly capable of. Resistance begins. The acrid smell of smoke and alien ozone hung heavy in the air as Jake Martinez crouched in the shadows of a crumbling building. What was once a bustling downtown area now resembled a war zone, with Nexeri patrol ships hovering ominously overhead. Jake checked his makeshift communicator, a device cobbled together from salvaged human and alien tech. It crackled to life, carrying a whispered message. "Phoenix, this is Sparrow. Package secured. Rendezvous at the nest in 10. Jake, now operating under the codename Phoenix, allowed himself a small smile. Another successful raid on a Nexeri supply depot. These small victories were crucial, not just for the resources they provided, but for the hope they instilled in the growing resistance. As he made his way through the ruins, Jake reflected on the past 3 months since the Nexeri revealed their true intentions. The initial shock of the betrayal had given way to a grim determination among the survivors. Humanity, it seemed, wasn't going down without a fight. At the nest, an abandoned subway station converted into a resistance hideout, Jake met with his core team. Dr. Eliza Chen, a brilliant xenobiologist, was examining their latest acquisition, a piece of Nexeri biotech. "What have you got for us, Eliza?" Jake asked, peering at the pulsating organic circuitry. Eliza's eyes gleamed with excitement. "This is incredible, Jake. It's not just technology. It's alive. The Nexeri have found a way to grow their machines, and if we can understand it, we might be able to hijack it." Jake nodded, hope rising in his chest. "Keep working on it. This could be the break we need." Across the room, Carlos Vega, a former software engineer, was hunched over an array of computer screens. "Hey, boss," he called out. "I think I've made progress on decrypting that transmission from Dr. Patel." Jake rushed over, his heart pounding. Samira Patel's interrupted message about a Nexeri weakness had been their only lead for weeks. "What have you got?" Carlos pointed to a series of complex algorithms on his screen. "It's fragmented, but I've isolated a few key phrases: neural network, resonance frequency, and collective consciousness. I think Dr. Patel was trying to tell us that the Nexeri have some kind of shared mind." Jake's mind raced with the implications. If they're all connected, that could be their strength, but also their weakness. "Good work, Carlos. Keep digging." As the resistance team worked tirelessly to unravel the Nexeri's secrets, life under alien rule grew increasingly harsh for the rest of humanity. Those who weren't deemed useful for labor were rounded up into sprawling camps, while the privileged worked under closed Nexeri supervision in factories and research facilities. In one such facility, Dr. Samira Patel fought her own silent battle. Pretending to cooperate with her Nexeri overseers, she secretly gathered crucial intelligence on their operations. Her position as a top human scientist granted her access to sensitive areas, and she intended to make the most of it. One day, while working on a Nexeri communications array, Samira noticed something odd. The alien technology seemed to resonate at a specific frequency when transmitting data. She recalled her studies on quantum entanglement and had a sudden, terrifying realization. "They're not just sharing information," she murmured to herself. "They're sharing consciousness." Her musings were interrupted by the arrival of Zarak, her former colleague turned overseer. The tall, ethereal being glided into the lab, its multifaceted eyes scanning the room. "Dr. Patel," Zarak's melodious voice carried an undertone of suspicion. "Your progress on the comm array is lacking. Perhaps you require additional motivation." Samira forced a smile, her heart racing. "Not at all, Zarak. I was just double-checking some calculations. Precision is key, after all." The Nexeri studied her for a long moment before nodding. "Indeed. Remember, Dr. Patel, your cooperation ensures the well-being of your fellow humans. Do not disappoint us." As Zarak left, Samira let out a shaky breath. She knew her time was running out. She had to find a way to transmit her findings to the resistance, and soon. Meanwhile, Jake and his team were putting their plans into action. Using the intelligence gathered from their raids and Samira's partial transmission, they had identified a potential weak point in the Nexary's defenses, a major communications hub on the outskirts of the city. Under the cover of night, Jake led a small team towards the alien structure. Its crystalline surfaces pulsed with an eerie light, casting strange shadows across the barren landscape. "Remember," Jake whispered to his team, "we're here to gather intel and plant the disruptors. No unnecessary risks." They'd moved silently, using salvaged Nexari cloaking technology to avoid detection. As they approached the facility, Elise's voice crackled over their comms. "I'm picking up some strange energy readings. Be careful in there, guys." Inside the hub, the team split up. Jake and Carlos made their way to the central control room, while the others planted disruptor devices at key points throughout the structure. In the control room, Carlos quickly got to work, interfacing their hybrid tech with the Nexari systems. "I'm in," he announced after a tense few minutes. "Downloading everything I can. But Jake, you need to see this." Jake looked over Carlos's shoulder, his eyes widening at the stream of data. "Is that a map?" Carlos confirmed. "Of their entire neural network across the planet. And look at this nodal point here." He pointed to a pulsing red dot on the display. "It's like a central processor for their whole system." Jake's mind raced with the possibilities. If we could take that out. Their planning was cut short by a sudden alarm. Harsh, alien sounds filled the air as the facility's defenses activated. "We've been made," Jake shouted into his comm. "Everyone, fall back to the extraction point." As they ran through the twisting corridors of the alien structure, Jake and his team found themselves face to face with a squad of Nexari warriors. Unlike the diplomatic faces the aliens had shown during their initial arrival, these beings were clearly built for combat, with multiple limbs bearing energy weapons. A fierce firefight erupted. The resistance fighters, armed with a mixture of human and reverse-engineered Nexari weapons, held their own against the alien onslaught. Jake watched in awe as one of his team members, a former gymnast named Zoe, used her agility to outmaneuver the Nexari, taking down 3 aliens with perfectly placed shots. "Go," Zoe shouted, providing cover fire. "I'll hold them off." Jake hesitated for a split second before nodding grimly. He knew the mission had to come first. "Give him hell, Zoe. We'll come back for you." As they escaped the facility, the sky lit up with Nexari patrol ships. The team scattered, using pre-planned escape routes to evade capture. Jake's heart pounded as he ducked through abandoned buildings and underground passages, the sounds of alien pursuit never far behind. Hours later, battered and exhausted, the surviving team members regrouped at a secondary hideout. The mood was somber. They had lost good people, including Zoe. But as Carlos began to decrypt the data they'd stolen, a sense of purpose returned. "Jake," Carlos called out, his voice filled with excitement. "You're going to want to see this. It's a message from Dr. Patel." The team huddled around the screen as Samira's face appeared, her expression a mixture of fear and determination. "To anyone who receives this, listen carefully. The Nexari's power comes from their shared consciousness, a massive neural network that spans their entire empire. But this connection is also their weakness. There's a specific resonance frequency that can disrupt their network. I'm working on a device to exploit this weakness, but I need help. I've included coordinates for a secure meeting point. Please, if you're out there, if you're still fighting, don't give up. Humanity has a chance." As the message ended, a stunned silence fell over the group. Then, slowly, expressions of hope began to dawn on their faces. Jake stood up, his eyes blazing with renewed determination. "You heard her," he said, his voice strong and clear. "We have a chance, and we're going to take it." The next few weeks were a flurry of activity for the Resistance. Using the information from the Nexari hub and Samira's message, they began to formulate a daring plan. Jake sent out encrypted messages to other resistance cells around the world, coordinating a global effort to strike at the heart of the Nexari control system. Eliza and her team worked tirelessly to develop weapons that could exploit the frequency weakness Samara had identified. They created disruptor grenades, long-range emitters, and even modifications for their existing weapons. Carlos, meanwhile, focused on cracking the Nexaries' communication protocols. If they could listen in on alien chatter, they'd have a crucial advantage in the coming battles. As the resistance grew stronger and more organized, the Nexarii began to take notice. Crackdowns intensified, and many humans were forcibly augmented with alien tech to ensure their loyalty. But for every person the Nexarii subjugated, 2 more joined the resistance. Stories of human bravery and ingenuity spread like wildfire. There was the tale of a group of farmers who used their knowledge of the land to ambush and destroy a Nexarii harvester ship. In another incident, a team of high school students hacked into a Nexarii education center, broadcasting messages of hope and resistance across the alien network. These small victories began to add up, and for the first time since the invasion, humanity dared to believe they might have a fighting chance. Finally, after weeks of preparation, Jake stood before his assembled forces, a motley crew of soldiers, scientists, hackers, and ordinary citizens united in their determination to reclaim their world. Finally, after weeks of preparation, Jake stood before his assembled forces, a motley crew of soldiers, scientists, hackers, and ordinary citizens united in their determination to reclaim their world. "Tomorrow," he began, his voice carrying across the crowded underground chamber, "we strike back. Not just here, but across the globe. Our mission is clear. We're going to sever the Nexaries' connection to their precious network. It won't be easy. We'll be outnumbered and outgunned. But remember this, they might have advanced technology, but we have something they could never understand. We have the human spirit." A cheer went up from the crowd, a sound of defiance and hope that seemed to shake the very earth. As Jake looked out over the sea of determined faces, he felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best, resilient, innovative, and unwilling to give up even in the face of overwhelming odds. "Get some rest," he concluded. "Tomorrow, we take back our home." As the resistance members dispersed to make their final preparations, Jake retreated to his makeshift office. He pulled out a worn photograph, a picture of Earth taken from space before the invasion. The blue and green marble, so fragile and yet so full of life, strengthened his resolve. "We're coming," he whispered to the image of his home planet. "Hold on just a little longer." Outside, the alien transformed sky pulsed with an eerie light, unaware that beneath the surface, a storm was brewing. Humanity was about to remind the cosmos why you should never, ever underestimate them. The stage was set. The pieces were in place. And as dawn broke on what would become the most important day in human history, the resistance prepared to launch their desperate, all-or-nothing assault against their alien oppressors. The turning point. The pre-dawn air crackled with tension as Jake Martinez surveyed the alien transformed skyline of what was once New York City. Nexarii ships patrolled lazily overhead, their crystalline structures gleaming in the faint light. In just a few hours, the largest coordinated human offensive since the invasion would begin. Jake's earpiece buzzed. "Phoenix, this is Shadowbird. Package is in position. Awaiting your signal." "Copy that, Shadowbird," Jake replied, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. "All teams, sound off." One by one, resistance cells from around the globe confirmed their readiness. From the ruins of London to the underground networks of Tokyo, humanity was poised to strike back. As the sun began to rise, casting an otherworldly purple glow across the landscape, Jake gave the order. "Operation Thunderbolt is a go. May fortune favor the bold." Across the planet, the resistance sprang into action. In New York, Jake led a daring assault on a major Nexarii processing center. The aliens, caught off guard by the suddenness and ferocity of the attack, struggled to mount an effective defense. "Push forward," Jake shouted, firing his hybrid weapon. a human assault rifle modified with Nexeri energy tech. The air sizzled with energy bolts and the staccato of gunfire. Inside the facility, Dr. Eliza Chen and her team raced against time to plant disruptor devices at key points. These devices, developed from Samira Patel's research, were designed to interfere with the Nexeri's neural network. "Jake, we're in position." Eliza's voice crackled over the comm. "Activating disruptors in 3, 2, 1. A high-pitched whine filled the air, and suddenly, the Nexeri forces seemed to falter. Their movements became erratic, their coordination failing. "It's working," Carlos exclaimed from his position at a makeshift command center. "Their neural link is destabilizing." Similar scenes played out across the globe. In London, resistance fighters led by former RAF pilot Sarah Collins executed a precision strike on a Nexeri airbase. The aliens' usually impeccable flight formations dissolved into chaos as the disruptors took effect. In the depths of the Amazon rainforest, a team of indigenous warriors and environmental scientists targeted a Nexeri terraforming station. Their intimate knowledge of the jungle allowed them to approach undetected, planting disruptors that not only confused the aliens, but also reversed some of the ecological damage they had wrought. As reports of successes flooded in from around the world, Jake allowed himself a moment of hope. But he knew the real test was yet to come. "Carlos," he called over the comm, "what's the status on the primary target?" There was a pause before Carlos replied, his voice tense. "Nexeri chatter is going crazy, Phoenix. They're redirecting forces to protect something big. Coordinates coming your way now." Jake studied the data on his wrist-mounted display, his eyes widening. "That's it. The central node of their neural network." Samira was right. He quickly assembled a strike team, including Eliza and their best fighters. As they prepared to move out, Jake addressed his troops. "This is it, people. We've got one shot at their Achilles heel. No matter what happens, know that today, humanity stands tall." The team moved swiftly through the city, using the chaos of the ongoing battles as cover. As they approached the coordinates, they saw it, a massive Nexeri structure, pulsing with energy, unlike anything they'd encountered before. "That's not a building," Eliza breathed, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear for a moment. "It's alive." Before they could plan their approach, the air shimmered, and a familiar figure materialized before them. Dr. Samira Patel, looking haggard but determined, stood flanked by a group of humans outfitted with Nexeri tech. "Jake Martinez," she said, a hint of a smile on her tired face. "Took you long enough." For a moment, tensions were high as both groups raised their weapons, unsure of each other's allegiances. But Jake saw the look in Samira's eyes, the same fire that burned in every resistance fighter. "Dr. Patel," he said, lowering his weapon, "your message saved us all. But how?" Samira gestured to her companions. "Not all humans in Nexeri facilities were loyal to them. We've been working from the inside, waiting for the right moment. And thanks to your attack, that moment is now." She quickly briefed them on the central node's defenses and its critical role in maintaining the Nexeri's collective consciousness across Earth. "If we can overload it," she explained, "we can sever their connection planet-wide." Jake nodded, his mind racing with the possibilities. "All right, let's end this. Dr. Patel, you and Eliza lead a team to the core. The rest of us will run interference and keep their forces occupied." As they put their plan into action, the Nexeri finally seemed to realize the true threat. Waves of alien warriors converged on the central node, their movements more desperate and individual than ever before. The battle that ensued was unlike anything in human history. Energy weapons flashed, illuminating the sky in a dazzling display of destructive power. Human ingenuity clashed with alien technology as the resistance fighters used every trick and tactic they had developed over months of guerrilla warfare. Jake found himself face to face with a Nexeri commander, a towering being with multiple limbs, each wielding a different weapon. As they fought, Jake realized something. Without their neural link, the Nexeri were formidable, but no longer invincible. Using the urban terrain to his advantage, Jake outmaneuvered the alien, leading it into a trap set by his team. As the Nexeri fell, Jake couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity was holding its own against a technologically superior foe through sheer determination and adaptability. Inside the central node, Samira and Eliza worked feverishly to overload the alien systems. The structure pulsed around them, almost as if it were aware of their presence. "We're close," Samira shouted over the din of battle. "But something's wrong. The system is adapting, trying to lock us out." Eliza's fingers flew over the hybrid console they had jury-rigged. "We need more power, something to push it over the edge." At that moment, Jake's voice crackled over their comms. "Whatever you're doing in there, do it fast. We can't hold them off much longer." Samira looked at Eliza, a grim determination in her eyes. "I have an idea, but it's risky. The Nexeri augmented some of us, trying to integrate us into their network. If I can connect directly, I might be able to overload the system from within." But the feedback, Eliza started, realizing the implications. "Could fry my brain, I know," Samira finished. "But it's our only shot." Before Eliza could protest further, Samira had already begun the connection process. The air around her crackled with energy as her consciousness merged with the Nexeri network. Outside, the tide of battle suddenly shifted. The Nexeri forces stumbled, their movements becoming erratic and uncoordinated. Jake and his team pressed their advantage, pushing closer to the central node. Inside Samira's mind, a war raged on a different plane of existence. She found herself in a vast, abstract space, surrounded by the collective consciousness of the Nexeri. Alien thoughts and memories swirled around her, threatening to overwhelm her sense of self. But Samira held on to her humanity, using it as an anchor. She pushed against the alien presence, introducing chaos into their ordered system. Her human unpredictability acted like a virus, spreading through the network. In the physical world, the central node began to pulse erratically. Cracks appeared in its crystalline surface, energy arsing between them. "It's working," Eliza shouted into her comm. "But I can't disconnect Dr. Patel. She's too deeply integrated." Jake, hearing this, fought his way into the structure. He found Samira convulsing, connected to the alien tech by glowing tendrils of energy. Without hesitation, he rushed to her side. "Samira," he called out, hoping to reach her consciousness. "You've done it. You can let go now. Come back to us." Inside the network, Samira heard Jake's voice as if from a great distance. It gave her the strength for one final push. With a mental scream of defiance, she tore herself free from the Nexeri consciousness. The effect was catastrophic for the aliens. The central node exploded in a blinding flash of light, sending a shockwave across the planet. Every Nexeri ship, every piece of their technology, suddenly went dark. As the dust settled, an eerie silence fell over the battlefield. Jake cradled Samira's unconscious form, looking out over the city. The purple hue that had dominated the sky since the invasion began to fade, giving way to Earth's natural blue. "We did it," he whispered, tears of relief and exhaustion streaming down his face. "We actually did it." In the days that followed, reports came in from around the globe. The Nexeri, cut off from their collective consciousness, were in disarray. Many simply shut down, while others seemed lost and confused without the constant guidance of the network. Humanity, battered but unbroken, began the long process of reclaiming their world. The aliens' advanced technology, now inert, became a resource for rebuilding. Scientists like Eliza worked tirelessly to understand and repurpose the alien tech for human benefit. Samira, after days in a coma, finally awoke. Her mind, irrevocably changed by her connection to the Nexeri network, now held insights that would prove invaluable in the days to come. As Jake stood on the roof of their makeshift headquarters, Watching the first unadulterated sunrise in over a year, he reflected on the incredible journey they had been through. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged stronger, more united than ever before. A voice behind him broke his reverie. "Quite a view, isn't it?" Jake turned to see Samira, still weak but standing, joining him on the roof. "Dr. Patel," he said with a smile. "Glad to see you on your feet." She nodded, her eyes distant. The Nexari, they weren't evil, not really. Just different, unable to understand individuality. In their own way, they thought they were helping us. Jake considered this. Maybe. But they underestimated us. All of us. That they did, Samara agreed. "So, what now, Jake? We've won our world back, but nothing will ever be the same." Jake looked out over the city, where humans and a few cooperative Nexari were working together to clear rubble and rebuild. "Now," he said, his voice filled with determination, "we build a better world. We take what we've learned, the strength we found, and we make sure we're ready for whatever the universe throws at us next." Samira smiled, a glimmer of excitement in her eyes. "Well then, I suppose we'd better get to work. The stars are waiting, after all." As they turned to head back inside, to begin the monumental task of rebuilding and advancing human civilization, both Jake and Samira felt a sense of limitless possibility. Humanity had been tested, pushed to the brink of extinction, and had emerged victorious. The message to the cosmos was clear: underestimate Earth at your own peril, for when faced with impossible odds, humans don't just endure, they triumph. Global counteroffensive. 6 months had passed since the destruction of the Nexari central node, and Earth was a planet transformed. The alien purple hue that had tainted the sky was gone, replaced by the familiar blue that humanity had missed so dearly. But the scars of the invasion remained. Cities lay in ruins, alien structures dotted the landscape, and the remnants of the Nexari force still posed a threat in pockets around the globe. In what was once the United Nations headquarters in New York, now a hybrid of human and repurposed Nexari technology, Jake Martinez stood before a council of leaders from around the world. The room buzzed with a mixture of hope and tension. Operation Thunderbolt was a success beyond our wildest dreams. Jake began, his voice carrying the weight of hard-won victory. But our fight isn't over. The Nexari may be cut off from their hive mind, but they're adapting. We need to press our advantage before they can regroup. Dr. Samira Patel, her eyes now bearing a faint alien glow, a remnant of her connection to the Nexari network, stepped forward. "I've analyzed the data from our captured Nexari databases. There are 5 major strongholds where the remaining aliens are concentrating their forces. If we can take these, we can effectively end their presence on Earth." The holographic display in the center of the room lit up, showing a global map with 5 pulsing red points, the Nexari strongholds. They were spread across the planet: the Sahara Desert, the Amazon rainforest, the Siberian tundra, the Indian Ocean, and the Rocky Mountains. General Sarah Collins, the former RAF pilot who had led the London resistance, spoke up. "A 5-pronged simultaneous attack. That's ambitious, even with our reverse-engineered Nexari tech." Jake nodded, acknowledging the challenge. "It is, but humanity has proven that when we stand united, we're capable of the impossible. We'll split our forces, hit all 5 locations at once. The Nexari won't be able to support each other without their neural network." As the council debated strategies and allocated resources, Dr. Eliza Chen entered the room, excitement evident on her face. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said, "but you need to see this." She activated her wrist computer, projecting an image of a massive Nexari warship. "We've cracked their propulsion systems. With the modifications my team has developed, we can get our own fleet airborne. We're taking the fight to the skies." A murmur of excitement rippled through the room. The ability to match the Nexari in aerial combat could turn the tide decisively in humanity's favor. Jake felt a surge of pride as he looked around at the assembled leaders, scientists, soldiers, and civilians who had risen to the challenge of saving their world. "All right," he said, his voice filled with determination. "Let's take back our planet." In the weeks that followed, preparation for the global counteroffensive consumed every aspect of human society. Factories that had once produced consumer goods now churned out hybrid weaponry and vehicles. Training centers worked around the clock, teaching volunteers how to operate the newly developed tech. Samira, using her unique insight into Nexari psychology, helped develop strategies to exploit the aliens' newfound individuality. Without the hive mind, they're struggling with concepts like creativity and adaptability. She explained during a strategy session, "We need to use that to our advantage." Finally, the day of the assault arrived. As dawn broke around the world, humanity launched its most ambitious military operation in history. In the Sahara, a fleet of hover tanks, their hulls shimmering with salvaged Nexari armor, stormed across the dunes. They were led by a young Tuareg warrior named Amir, who had distinguished himself during the resistance. The Nexari had transformed part of the desert into a twisted alien ecosystem, but Amir's knowledge of the terrain proved invaluable. As they approached the alien stronghold, a massive pyramid-like structure that pulsed with eerie light, Amir's voice crackled over the comms. "Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for every grain of sand, every beat of life that calls Earth home." The battle that ensued was fierce. Nexari defenders, operating as individuals rather than a cohesive force, put up a chaotic but determined resistance. But the human forces, empowered by their hybrid tech and driven by an indomitable spirit, slowly but surely gained ground. Meanwhile, in the Amazon, a different kind of battle was taking place. Led by Dr. Rosa Suarez, an ecologist turned resistance fighter. A team of scientists and indigenous warriors navigated the altered rainforest. The Nexari had accelerated the growth of the vegetation, creating a dense alien jungle teeming with mutated wildlife. Rosa's team moved silently through the underbrush, planting disruptor devices that would neutralize the Nexari's control over the altered ecosystem. As they neared the alien base, a massive structure that seemed to have grown organically from the forest itself, Rosa whispered a prayer to the spirits of the Amazon. "Our Earth remembers who she is," Rosa said to her team. "Let's help her shake off these invaders." Across the planet, similar scenes played out. In Siberia, a joint Russian-European task force battled through howling snowstorms, their cold-adapted Nexari tech allowing them to withstand temperatures that would have once been lethal. Led by Captain Nikolai Volkov, a grizzled veteran of the initial invasion, they pushed towards a Nexari weather control station that had plunged the region into an eternal winter. In the Indian Ocean, a fleet of submarines and aquatic mechs, piloted by a coalition of sailors from nations that had once been enemies, descended upon a vast underwater Nexari city. The aliens had been using the base to alter Earth's ocean currents, causing devastating changes to the global climate. Commander Amina Kapoor, a former Indian Navy officer, led the charge. As her mech suit cut through the alien defenses, she couldn't help but marvel at how the invasion had united humanity. "We're not just saving our world," she told her troops. "We're showing the universe what humans are truly capable of when we stand together." The fifth and final battleground was in the Rocky Mountains, where the Nexari had established a massive anti-orbital defense system. This base posed a unique challenge. It needed to be captured intact if humanity hoped to protect itself from potential future invasions. Jake Martinez himself led this assault, with Samira Patel providing real-time intelligence from her neural link to the fragmented Nexari consciousness. As they fought their way up the mountainside, facing off against the most advanced weapons in the Nexari arsenal, Jake was reminded of how far they had come. "Remember when we were scrounging for scraps in the ruins?" he said to his team as they took cover behind a ridge. "Now look at us, giving an advanced alien race a run for their money." The battle for the Rocky Mountain base was the fiercest of all. The Nexeri, realizing the strategic importance of the facility, fought with a desperation that bordered on madness. But humanity's forces, armed with their hybrid tech and an unbreakable spirit, refused to be denied. In a pivotal moment, as the human forces were pinned down by heavy Nexeri fire, Samira made a crucial discovery through her neural link. "Jake," she shouted over the comms. "The base's main reactor. It's unstable without the hive mind to regulate it. If we can get close enough, I might be able to trigger a controlled shutdown." Jake looked at his team, saw the determination in their eyes, and made a decision. "All right, people. This is what we've been fighting for. Let's finish this." In a daring maneuver, Jake led a small strike team into the heart of the Nexeri base, while the main force provided a distraction. Fighting through corridors that seemed to shift and change, they finally reached the central chamber. As Nexeri defenders closed in from all sides, Samira interfaced with the alien systems. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like a dying beast, the entire facility began to power down. The effect rippled out across the planet. One by one, the Nexeri strongholds fell silent. The aliens, cut off from their technology and overwhelmed by humanity's coordinated assault, began to surrender. As the dust settled on battlefields around the world, a new day dawned for Earth. Humanity had not just survived, they had triumphed, turning the invaders' own technology against them and reclaiming their world through sheer determination and ingenuity. In the aftermath, Jake stood atop the captured Rocky Mountain facility, looking out over the scared but healing landscape. Samira joined him, her eyes reflecting the complex emotions of their victory. "We did it," Jake said, his voice filled with awe and exhaustion. "We actually did it." Samira nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Humanity surprised even me, and I've had a glimpse into the minds of beings who've traversed the stars. We're something special, Jake." As they watched the sun rise on a freed Earth, reports began to pour in from around the globe. The Nexeri forces were surrendering en masse, their will to fight broken by the loss of their strongholds and the severing of their hive-mind connection. But with victory came new challenges. What would they do with the captured Nexeri? How would they use the advanced technology they had acquired? And perhaps most importantly, how would humanity move forward, knowing they were not alone in the universe? Jake took a deep breath, feeling the weight of these questions. But as he looked at Samira, at the teams of humans and cooperative Nexeri, already beginning the work of dismantling the alien war machines, he felt a surge of hope. "Whatever comes next," he said, "we'll face it together. And we'll be ready." As news of the victory spread across the planet, celebrations erupted in every corner of the globe. Humanity, once on the brink of extinction, had risen to become a force that could challenge the stars themselves. The message to the cosmos was clear: Earth was not to be trifled with. For on this small blue planet, a species had evolved that, when pushed to the brink, didn't just endure. They emerged stronger, more united, and ready to take their place among the stars. As the first rays of sunlight bathed the liberated Earth, Jake Martinez and his team began the long journey back to what remained of civilization. They carried with them not just the spoils of war, but the hope for a brighter future, a future where humanity, having faced its greatest challenge, was now prepared to reach for the stars. Triumph of humanity. 1 year had passed since the fall of the last Nexeri stronghold, and Earth was a planet reborn. The scars of the invasion were still visible. Alien structures repurposed for human use, hybrid technology integrated into daily life, and the occasional sight of a cooperative Nexeri working alongside humans in the rebuilding efforts. But there was an undeniable energy in the air, a sense of purpose and unity that had been forged in the crucible of near extinction. In the heart of what was once New York City, now a sprawling metropolis of human ingenuity and alien architecture, the Global Unity Summit was underway. Representatives from every nation on Earth had gathered to chart the course for humanity's future among the stars. Jake Martinez, now serving as the head of Earth's newly formed extraterrestrial defense force, stood at the podium, addressing the assembled leaders and billions watching the broadcast around the world. 1 year ago, we stood on the precipice of annihilation. Jake began, his voice carrying the weight of their shared struggle. Today, we stand united, not just as survivors, but as victors. We have proven to ourselves and to the cosmos that humanity is a force to be reckoned with. As Jake spoke, holographic displays showed the progress made in the past year. Cities rebuilt with a harmonious blend of human and Nexari design, the first human colonies on Mars thriving with terraforming technology, and the orbital defense grid that now protected Earth from future invasions. But our victory comes with great responsibility, Jake continued. We now possess technology beyond our wildest dreams and knowledge of a universe teeming with life. The question before us is simple yet profound. What kind of interstellar civilization will we choose to become? In the front row, Dr. Samira Patul listened intently. Her unique connection to the Nexari consciousness had made her an invaluable asset in understanding the alien technology and the broader galactic community. As Jake finished his speech, she prepared to present her findings to the summit. "Thank you, Jake," Samira said as she took the stage. "What I'm about to share will change our understanding of our place in the universe." The room fell silent as Samira activated a holographic display of the Milky Way galaxy. Dozens of points of light appeared, scattered across the spiral arms. "These are the civilizations we've identified from the Nexari databases," Samira explained. "Some more advanced than the Nexari, others less so. But here's the crucial part. Many of them are watching us right now." A murmur rippled through the audience. Samira continued, "Our defeat of the Nexari, a species that had subjugated dozens of worlds, has put us on the galactic stage. We are no longer just inhabitants of Earth. We are players in a cosmic drama." As the implications of Samira's words sank in, the summit erupted into passionate debate. Some argued for rapid expansion into space, staking humanity's claim among the stars. Others advocated for caution, focusing on fortifying Earth against potential new threats. Dr. Eliza Chen, now heading the Global Science Initiative, presented the next crucial topic. While we've made incredible strides in understanding Nexari technology, there's still so much to learn. We stand on the brink of discoveries that could revolutionize our understanding of physics, biology, and the very nature of consciousness. She unveiled plans for a series of research stations throughout the solar system, dedicated to unlocking the secrets of the universe. With these facilities, Eliza explained, we can ensure that humanity remains at the forefront of galactic scientific advancement. As the summit progressed, it became clear that humanity's path forward would be a delicate balance of exploration, defense, and diplomacy. The decision was made to establish an interstellar embassy, a neutral ground where humanity could meet and negotiate with other species. Jake, listening to the discussions, felt a mix of pride and apprehension. They had come so far, but the challenges ahead were immense. His thoughts were interrupted by an urgent message from the orbital defense grid. "Ladies and gentlemen," Jake announced, his voice cutting through the chatter, "we've just detected an incoming ship. It's not Nexari. It's something new." The summit hall erupted into controlled chaos as leaders scrambled to respond to this new development. Jake, Samira, and a team of experts rushed to the command center, where they watched the approach of the alien vessel. Unlike the crystalline structures of the Nexari ships, this craft was sleek and organic, moving with a grace that spoke of incredibly advanced technology. As it entered Earth's orbit, a transmission was received. "People of Earth," a melodious voice echoed through the command center. "We are the Etheri. We have watched your struggle and your triumph with great interest. We come in peace, seeking dialogue with the species that defeated the Nexari collective." Jake looked at Samira, seeing his own mix of excitement and caution reflected in her eyes. "Well," he said with a wry smile, "I guess the neighborhood's getting friendlier. Let's go make a first impression." As Earth prepared for its first peaceful contact with an alien species, the atmosphere was electric with possibility. The Aetheri ambassadors, ethereal beings of light and energy, were welcomed to the Global Unity Summit amidst tight security and worldwide broadcast. The Aetheri spokesman, a being who introduced itself as Zephyr, addressed the assembly. "We have long observed the younger races of this galaxy, but never have we seen a species progress so rapidly or show such resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. Your victory over the Nexeri has shifted the balance of power in this sector of the galaxy. Many are watching to see what you will do next." Jake, serving as humanity's representative, stepped forward. "We appreciate your interest in our world, Zephyr. Humanity has paid a heavy price for our freedom, and we're still learning to navigate this new reality. What exactly are the Aetheri proposing?" Zephyr's form shimmered as it responded. "We offer knowledge, cultural exchange, and a place in the Galactic Concord. An alliance of free worlds dedicated to mutual defense and the advancement of all sentient life." The offer was tempting, but Jake and the other leaders were cautious. They had learned the hard way that not all that glitters in the cosmos is gold. After much deliberation, a decision was reached. "We are honored by your offer," Jake announced, "and we're eager to learn more about the galaxy we now find ourselves a part of. However, humanity has just reclaimed its independence. We would like to propose a period of limited exchange and cooperation, allowing both our peoples to become better acquainted before any formal alliances are made." The Aetheri accepted this proposal with what seemed to be approval. As the summit concluded, a new chapter in human history began, one that would see Earth take its first tentative steps into a wider galactic community. In the months that followed, Earth underwent a renaissance of culture, technology, and philosophy. The presence of the Aetheri and the knowledge gained from the Nexeri sparked a new age of human creativity and innovation. Eliza Chen's research stations made breakthrough after breakthrough, unlocking secrets of quantum mechanics, dark energy, and even the nature of consciousness itself. These discoveries led to advancements in medicine, energy production, and space travel that would have seemed like magic just a few years earlier. Samira Patel, her unique connection to the Nexari hive mind, fading but leaving her with unprecedented insights, became a key figure in developing Earth's policies towards other alien races. She worked tirelessly to ensure that humanity's growth into an interstellar civilization would be guided by wisdom and compassion, not fear or aggression. As for Jake Martinez, he found himself in a role he had never anticipated, that of a diplomat. His experiences during the invasion and his leadership in the resistance made him a symbol of humanity's resilience and adaptability. He traveled to other worlds, representing Earth in galactic forums and negotiating treaties that would secure humanity's place among the stars. 5 years after the Nexeri invasion, Earth had been transformed. The first permanent human settlements on Mars were thriving, with terraforming efforts beginning to show promising results. A network of space stations orbited the planet, serving as research centers, defense platforms, and waypoints for the growing number of human ships venturing into deep space. On a clear night, Jake stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, Earth's first major orbital habitat. As he looked down at the blue marble below, he reflected on the incredible journey that had brought humanity to this point. Samira joined him, her eyes now bearing only a faint trace of the alien glow that had once marked her connection to the Nexeri. "Quite a view, isn't it?" she said, echoing words spoken years ago in very different circumstances. Jake nodded, a smile playing on his lips. "Sometimes I still can't believe how far we've come. From fighting for survival in the ruins of our cities to standing on the threshold of the galaxy. We've earned our place out there," Samira replied, gesturing to the star-filled void beyond the station. "But we can't forget the lessons we've learned." "No," Jake agreed. "We can't. Power and technology aren't enough. It's our humanity, our creativity, our adaptability, our unbreakable spirit. That's our true strength." As they spoke, an alert chimed softly, A holographic display sprang to life, showing a message from one of Earth's deep space probes. Jake and Samira leaned in, their eyes widening as they read the report. "Is this confirmed?" Jake asked, his voice hushed with awe. Samira nodded, a mix of excitement and apprehension in her eyes. "Multiple sources. It's real, Jake. We found them, the homeworld of the Nexuri Collective." For a moment, they stood in silence, the weight of this discovery hanging between them. The Nexuri homeworld, the source of the invasion that had nearly destroyed humanity, was within reach. The knowledge and technology that could be gained there were beyond imagination. But so too were the potential dangers. Jake took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders as he had done so many times during the dark days of the invasion. "Well," he said, a glint of determination in his eyes, "I guess humanity has another choice to make. Do we let our fear hold us back, or do we face our past and seize our future?" Samira smiled, recognizing the fire that had led humanity to victory against impossible odds. "I think we both know the answer to that, Jake. Humanity didn't come this far to stop now." As they turned to bring this monumental news to Earth's leaders, both Jake and Samira felt a familiar surge of excitement and purpose. The next chapter of humanity's journey into the cosmos was about to begin, and if their past was any indication, it promised to be an adventure unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The stars beckoned, and humanity, battle-tested, unified, and unbreakable, was ready to answer the call. The message to the universe was clear. Earth was not just a small blue planet on the edge of an unremarkable galaxy. It was the home of a species that had looked extinction in the eye, and not only survived, but emerged stronger. A species that was now ready to take its place among the stars, facing whatever challenges the cosmos might throw their way with ingenuity, determination, and an indomitable human spirit. As Unity Station continued its silent orbit around Earth, the planet below glowed with the light of billions of lives, each one a testament to the incredible journey of a species that had gone from the brink of annihilation to the threshold of a grand cosmic adventure. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril, but one thing was sure: humanity was ready for whatever came next.